Machiavelli wrote those words not as poetry, but as battlefield instruction. He understood that the mind is not a peaceful garden, but a fortress under siege. You believe you are free because you choose breakfast, scroll through a screen, or speak your opinion. Yet in truth, most men live as captives. They are ruled by impulses, chained to approval, swayed by the shifting winds of others' opinions. The illusion of freedom blinds them. They imagine themselves kings, but their throne has already been taken. The real enemy is not outside. It is hesitation that delays action until opportunity passes. It is dependency that ties worth to applause. Weakness never announces its arrival with drums. It creeps quietly, settles inside habits, and one morning you wake to find your choices no longer belong to you. Consider how often you reach for distraction before focus, or silence yourself to avoid disapproval. These are not minor slips. They are silent coups, where weakness seizes your crown while you remain unaware. The first war is within, and its battlefield is your mind. If you do not rule it, something else will. Understand this clearly. Neutrality does not exist here. Every thought either strengthens your fortress or weakens its walls. If your will hesitates, outside forces will occupy the throne. Social pressure, constant noise, and endless desires act like enemy armies, always probing for weakness. You either command or you are commanded. To win, you must act as a sovereign. Guard your attention as if it were a city's gates. Cut hesitation. Quickly, the moment you sense it, strike by moving forward. Refuse to hand power to approval. Choose silence when provoked, rather than scrambling for validation. When someone dismisses your idea in a meeting, do not beg for recognition. Pause. Hold your ground. Speak with clarity once and let composure carry weight. Power is felt most when you need no defense. This is the call to war. It is not fought with weapons but with discipline. Each choice is a sword stroke. Each refusal to bow is a wall rebuilt. You do not wait for freedom to arrive. You seize it daily. The throne of your mind will not remain vacant. Someone or something will occupy it. Ensure it is you. Remember the mantra, rule the mind or be ruled. The mind is a throne, and whoever controls it governs everything else. If you rule it with strength, every decision becomes a decree. If you abandon it, you become a subject in your own kingdom. Focus is the crown of this throne, and where focus goes, power follows. In a world of endless notifications, shallow entertainment, and constant demands, attention is the currency of sovereignty. Each distraction is not harmless. It is a thief scaling the walls of your fortress. Every moment you surrender to triviality, you weaken your defenses and allow invaders to occupy what should be under your command. Guard attention with the same severity you would guard gold. Direct it deliberately, because whatever seizes your gaze eventually governs your fate. But mastery of the throne requires more than focus. It demands the exile of doubt. Doubt dethrones kings before the first battle is fought. Psychological research consistently shows that belief in your own capacity influences performance even more than raw skill. This is not fantasy, it is an observable fact. Athletes who expect to fail tighten under pressure. Leaders who second-guess themselves falter in negotiations. The enemy is not always lacking in ability. It is the inner voice whispering that you are not ready. When you let that voice dictate your steps, you hand over your crown before swords are even drawn. To rule your throne, you must recognize doubt for what it is. A usurper that must be expelled without hesitation. Replace hesitation with command. Act first, refine as you go, but never let paralysis sit on your throne. Understand that the throne is never given freely. No one arrives with a crown in hand and declares you sovereign of your mind. Each day is a coup waiting to happen. You either seize the seat through decisive will, or weakness occupies it by default. This is the brutal truth Machiavelli understood. Authority does not arrive by gift. It is taken and it is defended daily. When you wake in the morning, you are not inheriting the throne. You are storming it. The choice to act, to direct, to cut away distraction is the march that secures your castle. Delay even briefly, and the enemy advances. Take this as command. Master focus, exile doubt, and seize the throne each morning before the world storms the gates. Weak. I can't focus today. Strong. I choose where my mind serves. Weak. I don't know if I'm ready. Strong. I decide, then I act. Weak. Maybe I'll try later. Strong. The throne is mine now. Your mind will not remain unruled. Either you govern it, or it governs you. Remember this mantra. He who rules the mind wears the only crown that matters. The morning is a battlefield. Before the world stirs, before voices demand your attention, you face the first decisive clash of the day. History is filled with rulers and generals who understood this. They rose before dawn not out of superstition but strategy. To wake early was to claim the high ground. Roman commanders inspected their camps at first light. Napoleon began reviewing dispatches before others had even stirred. In many traditions, rising before the sun was a sign of authority, proof that the sovereign mastered time instead of being mastered by it. The lesson is simple. If you begin the day in command, you carry that command into everything that follows. If you begin it in weakness, you remain a prisoner to the hours ahead. The strength of mornings lies not only in timing, but in momentum. Psychology shows us that the human mind is vulnerable to inertia. The first choice you make sets the trajectory for many that follow. Begin with discipline, and discipline cascades. Begin with surrender, and surrender spreads. Think of the first decision as the opening move in chess. You cannot guarantee victory with it, but you can almost guarantee failure if you play it poorly. Snoozing the alarm, scrolling endlessly, or stumbling into the day without clarity are weak openings. They concede initiative before the match has even begun. In contrast, rising at the chosen hour, training the body, or sitting in silence before, work are powerful moves that force the rest of the day into your rhythm. Once momentum is yours, it carries you forward with less resistance. But command requires more than isolated acts. It requires ritual. A sovereign wears armor before entering battle. You must do the same. Ritual is not about rigid superstition. It is about preparing the mind and body with reliable signals. A brief workout hardens discipline. Reading a single page of a serious book sharpens focus. Writing one intention for the day directs energy like a drawn sword. These rituals are not trivial, they are armor and weapons. Without them, you march into the day unarmed, vulnerable to every distraction and demand. With them, you face the chaos already prepared. Do not mistake ritual for perfection. Some mornings will resist you. Fatigue will tempt you. Doubt will whisper that skipping today means little. In those moments, remember, the battle is not for comfort but for sovereignty. Even a shortened routine, performed with resolve, signals that the throne is not abandoned. Weak. I'll see how I feel. Strong. I decide, then I move. Weak. I don't have time. Strong. I make time for what rules me. The distinction is not semantic. It is survival. Each dawn is a war declared against complacency. You either seize the high ground or fight uphill all day. Begin with command, carry momentum, and let ritual shield you from disorder. The day does not wait for the hesitant. The morning decides the king. Remember this mantra. Win the morning, win the throne. Power often belongs to the one who waits longest. Machiavelli observed that fortune bends more easily to those who are impetuous at the right moment, but behind that strike is long patience. The predator that rushes burns out its strength. The predator that waits chooses the battlefield. Stillness is not weakness. It is stored energy, like a blade sheathed until the exact moment when it matters. To weaponize stillness is to understand that timing rules victories more than speed. Armies that exhausted themselves in early charges often fell to opponents who conserved strength until fatigue made them easy prey. The same principle applies to your life. Wait, watch, and when others tire, advance. Stillness also acts as camouflage. Consider the wolf. It does not announce itself with noise. It blends into the landscape until the herd forgets it exists. Then, when distance closes and escape is impossible, it strikes. You must learn this same art. Do not reveal every plan. Do not speak every thought. In negotiations, silence unsettles more than argument. In conflict, composure breaks the opponent. Faster than shouting. When a colleague challenges your idea, do not rush to defend, hold still, let the silence weigh. Then deliver one precise statement, calm and measured. Power is felt most when others realize you cannot be provoked. To wait is not to retreat, it is to become invisible until the perfect moment to reveal strength. The modern world is built to destroy stillness. Notifications, chatter, and noise fracture attention into fragments. Endless stimulation convinces you that constant reaction equals progress, but it drains clarity. In reality, clarity requires withdrawal. A sovereign cannot be at the mercy of every bell that rings. If your phone commands you, you are not sovereign, you are a servant. Each notification you indulge is like leaving the castle gate open for every passerby. Guard it with discipline. Schedule time to be unreachable. Choose silence deliberately. Even 10 minutes of undisturbed thought becomes a weapon in a world addicted to noise. The trap of chaos is subtle because it flatters you. It tells you that activity is achievement, that speed is victory, that visibility equals relevance. Reject this. Weak, I have to respond now. Strong, I answer when I choose. Weak, everyone must know my progress. Strong, results. Will speak without noise. Weak, if I stay silent, I'll be overlooked. Strong, silence is my position of strength. Stillness is not absence of movement. It is strategic invisibility, calculated patience, and controlled presence. Understand this. Silence is not the opposite of action. It is the preparation for decisive action. Those who move constantly exhaust themselves. Those who wait weaponize time. Restrain yourself until the moment demands release, then strike with precision. Remember the mantra, stillness is the sharpest blade. An empire is not built by addition, but by subtraction. What weakens you must be cut away, and hesitation, in doing so, is betrayal to yourself. History shows that rulers who failed to act with severity when necessary lost more than battles. They lost entire kingdoms. Mercy shown to those who undermine you is rarely repaid with loyalty. When conspirators were spared, they often returned stronger, striking again when vigilance dropped. This is why Machiavelli warned that hesitation in punishing betrayal invites repeated sabotage. To rule, you must accept that tolerance of weakness is not kindness, but poison. Mercy without discipline corrodes authority from within. The same principle applies to modern life. You may not face assassins in your court, but you face distractions and toxic influences that sabotage your sovereignty. Social media designed to consume your focus, conversations that drain your energy, people who disguise envy as friendship. These are the new conspirators. Every time you indulge them, you allow thieves inside your fortress. Cutting them is not cruelty, it is strategy. Block the endless notifications that demand your obedience. Distance yourself from those who celebrate your failures more than your progress. Remove environments that keep you small. The fortress of your mind and time cannot withstand open gates. Guard them, and do not apologize for it. Ruthless elimination also means executing comforts that weaken your resolve. Here lies the executioner within. You must be willing to sacrifice convenience to rise. Sleep an extra hour, and you surrender an hour of mastery. Cling to indulgence, and you blunt your edge. Greatness is never carried by those unwilling to bleed comforts. You cannot expect to wield a crown while clinging to softness. The sovereign that hesitates to cut away luxury invites dependency, and dependency always becomes a chain. Imagine yourself as both king and executioner, commanding and enforcing, sparing nothing that endangers your rise. When weakness appears, you do not negotiate with it, you remove it. This discipline extends to interaction. If a colleague constantly undermines your decisions, do not indulge endless arguments. State your boundary once, firmly. If challenged again, act with calm finality. Remove their influence from your circle or neutralize their interference without spectacle. Ruthlessness here is not cruelty, it is clarity. You are not obligated to keep what diminishes you. To rule yourself is to wield the blade of elimination without trembling. Weak, I'll deal with it later. Strong, I cut it now. Weak, maybe it will improve on its own. Strong, I act before it corrodes further. Weak, I can't let go. Strong, I refuse to carry dead weight. This is the difference between sovereignty and slavery. Understand this. What you tolerate becomes what rules you. Elimination is not an act of destruction, but of purification. Each cut sharpens the throne. Each refusal strengthens the crown. Rule is maintained not by what you gather, but by what you remove. Remember the mantra, cut weakness or be cut down by it. Power is not only measured by what you do, but by how you are perceived while doing it. Command is not merely force, it is projection. Machiavelli understood that rulers who appeared decisive held more authority than those who explained endlessly. Silence, presence, and posture often carry greater weight than words. A sovereign who speaks sparingly seems deliberate, while one who floods the air with explanations appears insecure. Authority in silence is a weapon. When you remain composed while others grow loud, you draw the center of gravity toward yourself. In negotiations, in leadership, even in conflict, restraint amplifies power. A king does not shout from the throne to prove he rules. The throne itself projects authority, yet authority is reinforced by calculated mystery. When every detail of your thoughts is displayed, rivals can anticipate your next step. Strategic ambiguity prevents others from mapping your moves. In modern settings, this means not oversharing intentions, not broadcasting every plan, not rushing to announce what you have not yet secured. Uncertainty unsettles challenges. If colleagues expect you to react immediately, delay with calmness. If opponents try to predict your position, reveal only what is necessary. Mystery is not dishonesty, it is strategy. A commander does not lay out his battle plans for the enemy. He lets them guess, and the guessing weakens them. The mask you wear is not deception, but armor. You do not owe the world unfiltered access to your emotions or vulnerabilities. To expose everything is to walk into battle without a shield. The mask protects the throne by filtering what others see. This is not about faking strength. It is about preserving dignity and command. If frustration rises, you hold composure until the moment passes. If fear appears, you do not let it parade in front of rivals. The mask allows you to move with calm precision while storms rage internally. Leaders throughout history wore this armor because they knew perception shapes outcomes as much as reality. Imagine a situation where a colleague dismisses your proposal. Many would rush to defend themselves, voice rising, arguments piling up. You instead hold still. You let the silence stretch, then calmly deliver one clear sentence reinforcing your stance. The room shifts. Authority is not earned by reacting louder, but by appearing unshaken. Weak. I must convince you now. Strong. My position speaks for itself. Weak. I need approval. Strong. I act with clarity. Weak. I will show all my cards. Strong. I reveal only what strengthens me. This is the mask of command, armor that projects certainty even when storms exist within. Understand this truth: the sovereign is both an actor and a strategist. You must cultivate a presence that commands without noise, mystery that unsettles without lies, and armor that shields without deception. To rule perception is to rule power itself. Remember the mantra: command is a mask worn with purpose. Within you there must exist an assassin, silent, ruthless, and without pity for weakness. Hesitation cannot be debated with. Fear cannot be bargained with. The assassin inside you is the one who strikes first on hesitation, cutting it down before it grows. You cannot wait for confidence to appear. You execute action before doubt has time to speak. The difference between progress and paralysis is measured in seconds. When you delay, hesitation multiplies. When you act immediately, you starve it of life. This is the assassin's role within: swift, precise, merciless toward fear. But an assassin's blade is useless if dull. Discipline is the weapon sharpened daily. Each ritual, no matter how small, is a whetstone against weakness. Rising at the chosen hour, training the body, reading with focus, executing tasks without delay. These are strokes across the blade. Machiavelli argued that fortune favors the bold, but boldness is not chaos. It is prepared readiness. The man who sharpens discipline daily can strike when the moment demands, The one who neglects discipline finds his blade rusted, unfit for battle. Great rulers throughout history did not depend on chance. They forged habits that kept them sharp even when no enemy was visible. Discipline is not optional. It is the only edge that separates you from defeat. Yet every age faces assassins from outside, modern enemies that are subtle but deadly. Procrastination is one. It whispers that tomorrow will be better, and in waiting you forfeit power today. Addiction is another, cloaked in pleasure but hollowing strength over time. Endless distraction, glowing screens, shallow pursuits. They are killers dressed as companions. They drain focus and erode command until you no longer rule your hours. To counter them, you must become your own executioner. Eliminate their grip with precision. Block what wastes you. Refuse what weakens you. Every indulgence tolerated is another assassin inside your court. Imagine this. A colleague tries to delay a decision, insisting more discussion is needed. Instead of joining the spiral, you cut hesitation with calm authority. You state the path, assign the move, and end the debate. The room falls quiet, not because you shouted, but because you struck cleanly at delay. This is the assassin in practice, not cruel, not reckless, but decisive. Weak. I'll think about it later. Strong. I will decide now. Weak. I need to feel ready first. Strong. Action creates readiness. Weak. I'll see if the moment comes. Strong. I seize the moment before it fades. The assassin within is not a figure of darkness. It is a guardian of sovereignty. It kills what would kill your raaz. It spares nothing that threatens your throne. To rule yourself, you must learn to wield this inner blade without hesitation, to strike down fear, weakness, and delay before they infiltrate your kingdom. Remember the mantra, hesitation dies, sovereignty lives. The wolf survives not through comfort but through hunger. It is the edge of need that sharpens instincts, drives the hunt, and forges resilience. When you starve, you awaken resourcefulness. When you grow too full, you grow dull. This is why predators remain dangerous while domesticated animals lose their bite. Hunger is not only physical, it is psychological. To feed the wolf within is to cultivate drive. To starve it with constant indulgence is to weaken it until it forgets how to fight. Comfort feels like safety, but in truth it is a slow poison. The sovereign must keep hunger alive, because only hunger fuels expansion. To master hunger, you must first learn to starve distractions. Modern life is engineered to feed weakness and drain strength. Endless scrolling, shallow entertainment, gossip and trivial consumption act like poison disguised as food. They are satisfied in the moment, but leave you weaker afterward. Every time you indulge, you are feeding the wrong wolf, the wolf of passivity, dependency, and decay. Guard your attention as you would guard a fortress gate. Cut out the poison before it breeds complacency. A sovereign cannot allow parasites to drain him and expect to remain strong. To feed the wolf of strength, you must starve the wolves of weakness. Eliminate what steals your time, replace the empty with the sharpening. Choose deliberate challenge over effortless distraction. The psychology of delayed gratification proves this principle. Experiments have long shown that those who resist immediate reward for greater long-term gain outperform those who cannot wait. This is not abstract theory, it is measurable reality. Training desire is training power. The one who can say no to what is easy can say yes to what builds empires. Each act of restraint strengthens the wolf that leads you. Each indulgence, surrendered, strengthens the wolf that enslaves you. Discipline in small temptations compounds into mastery in larger battles. To control appetite is to control destiny. Consider a simple disagreement with yourself. You plan to read for an hour, but temptation whispers that a video or a message will take just a few minutes. The weak surrender. I deserve this. The strong cut the temptation. I decide what I feed. This choice seems small, yet it determines which wolf eats and which one starves. Over time, the wolf you feed becomes the ruler of your character. Weak. I'll indulge now and recover later. Strong. I sacrifice now to rule later. Weak. I need comfort to perform. Strong. I need hunger to sharpen me. The wolf within is both guardian and predator. Starve the weak. Feed the strong. Protect hunger as the source of vitality, and let it drive you beyond the reach of comfort's chains. The sovereign does not fear hunger, he cultivates it as fuel. Remember the mantra, feed strength, starve weakness. Life is a chessboard and every move carries weight. To think like a sovereign, you must play with strategy, not impulse. Chess teaches this mercilessly. The impatient player lunges for quick gains, trading pieces without foresight, and soon finds himself cornered. The disciplined player values position over immediate capture. He knows that trading a pawn recklessly may open the path for his king's downfall. In life, position always outweighs impulse. Impulse promises satisfaction now but blinds you to consequences. Position secures strength later by ensuring every move builds toward advantage. To rule yourself, you must resist the urge to move recklessly, and instead think in terms of where each decision places you 3, 5, 10 steps ahead. Sacrifice is not defeat. It is strategy. The strongest players understand that to win the board, something must be given up. In war, armies were often pulled back temporarily to set a trap. In chess, a knight or bishop is surrendered to expose the opponent's king. In life, this same principle applies. You may sacrifice comfort today for power tomorrow. You may give up leisure to secure mastery in your craft. You may let go of certain relationships that slow your advance in order to clear the path for stronger alliances. Sacrifice with purpose is not loss, it is investment. The weak cling desperately to every piece and collapse when they can no longer defend them all. The strong know that letting go of the lesser allows them to seize the greater. To win, you must ask not only what you gain, but also what you are willing to give. The modern arena is no different. Business, relationships, and politics all operate as boards where every decision is a move that shifts position. Accept a poor partnership, and you may gain quick benefits, but lose long-term influence. Rush into a job for security, and you may lock yourself into years of stagnation. Speak without calculation, and you may trade reputation for temporary validation. But when you act with strategy, you choose moves that strengthen your overall position, even if they bring short-term discomfort. Consider a moment in which someone undermines you publicly. The impulse is to react sharply, but the strategic move may be silence, letting them expose their insecurity while you maintain composure and preserve authority. Authority grows not from constant reaction, but from deliberate, well-chosen strikes. Weak, I must move now or lose everything. Strong, I wait for the right moment to gain more. Weak, I can't afford to sacrifice. Strong, I sacrifice deliberately to build power. Weak, I'll say whatever I feel. Strong, I measure words as they move on the board. These distinctions define whether you remain a pawn reacting to pressure or become the king who dictates the flow of the game. Understand this, life punishes those who play without strategy. Every impulse move weakens position, every calculated sacrifice strengthens it. Master the board and you master the outcome. Remember the mantra, play the board, not the moment. Strength does not survive on its own, it must be forged daily. Without ritualized toughness, the will softens, and a soft will cannot rule. History is filled with leaders who understood this. Roman generals trained with weapons heavier than those used in battle, so that war would feel lighter than practice. Spartan youths were hardened by discipline that left no room for comfort. Even in more recent times, commanders, statesmen, and thinkers built rituals of physical exertion to sharpen body and mind. The lesson is clear. The body is not only flesh, but also a training ground for discipline. Harden the body, and you sharpen. The throne of your will. Neglect it and you watch the throne crumble. But resilience is not only physical. The mind itself grows strong only when tested under strain. Psychology confirms that controlled stress, followed by recovery, builds endurance. Those who avoid challenges in pursuit of comfort weaken their ability to withstand even small adversity. Those who deliberately place themselves under strain, through public speaking, deliberate practice, or taking on difficult projects, grow stronger with each trial. The principle is no different from muscle. It tears under pressure and rebuilds stronger. A sovereign mind does not hide from stress. It uses stress as training. You must choose the weight you carry so that when heavier loads are forced upon you, your will is already conditioned to endure. Each day becomes the forge, and You are both the blacksmith and the steel. Morning discipline is the hammer. The sacrifice of distraction is the fire. Acts of self-control are the anvil against which you are struck. You decide whether you emerge harder, sharper, and unbreakable, or whether you melt into ash under the heat. The forge never stops. Every skipped ritual is metal left to rust. Every completed ritual is another strike of the hammer, another layer of strength added to the blade. You cannot buy this toughness, and no one can give it to you. It is earned, blow by blow, in the fire of routine. When confronted with challenges, the weak retreat into excuses. The strong use ritual as shield and sword. Weak, I'll do it when I feel ready. Strong, I prepare daily, so readiness is never in question. Weak, discipline is too rigid. Strong, discipline frees me to command. Weak, today's effort doesn't matter. Strong, each day hardens me for tomorrow's battles. These distinctions are not poetic. They decide whether you remain fragile or become unshakable. Your sovereignty depends on this iron ritual. Harden your body to command endurance. Test your mind to expand resilience. Enter the forge each day with the willingness to be struck and emerge sharper than before. Strength is not granted, it is forged, and the hammer never stops. Remember the mantra: forge the will or be broken by fire. To become untouchable is to place yourself beyond the reach of bribery, flattery, or coercion. The sovereign who cannot be swayed becomes both respected and feared, for nothing binds him but his own command. Modern life tempts you constantly. With validation, every like, every comment, every nod of approval is bait. If you hunger for it, you are owned by it. Detach from validation, and you step into freedom. You must train yourself to act from principle, not applause. Do not post for reaction. Post because it aligns with your standard. Do not chase recognition. Let results stand silent and undeniable. Weak, I need to be seen to feel worthy. Strong, I act in alignment whether anyone sees or not. This detachment severs the strings that make others your master. Untouchability also requires walls of self-command, an internal fortress no enemy can breach. Psychology shows that resilience emerges when you build inner frameworks stronger than external pressure. Self-command is the architecture of this fortress. It means governing your impulses, not allowing anger, fear, or desire to dictate action. You may feel them, but they do not steer you. Picture a storm battering castle walls. If the walls are weak, the fortress collapses. If they are reinforced, the storm eventually dies, while the fortress stands. When insulted, hold composure. When provoked, measure your strike. When tempted, let discipline decide. The fortress is not built in one act, but through layers of repeated self-control. Each choice not to bend adds another stone. Over time, the walls rise high enough that no passing storm can topple them. The final form of sovereignty is predator among prey, king among pawns. The untouchable walks through life carrying an aura of calm dominance, precisely because he does not depend on the herd. He does not beg for approval, cannot be baited into chaos, and refuses to be bought. Like the wolf that hunts alone, he relies on strength rather than the safety of the flock. This form is not loud. It is quiet, undeniable, and heavy with presence. People sense it before words are spoken. They hesitate to challenge because they know manipulation will fail. Untouchability is not about being invincible to attack, but about being immune to corruption. Consider a workplace example. A peer attempts to corner you by dangling flattery, praising your work, then suggesting you should compromise your principles for their agenda. Instead of grasping at the bait, you respond with steady neutrality. You acknowledge the praise, but your decision remains unchanged. Calm composure disarms them more effectively than conflict. You demonstrate that no bribe of ego or validation can purchase your allegiance. This is untouchability in practice, principled, measured, and unyielding. Detach from validation, fortify self-command, and embody the final predator form. Weak, I need them to approve me. Strong, I approve myself. Weak, I'll bend if pressured. Strong, I do not bend under pressure. Weak, I must belong to be secure. Strong, I am secure because I stand alone. Each distinction carves you further from the herd and closer to sovereignty. Understand this truth. To be untouchable is not to withdraw from the world, but to rule within it while never being ruled by it. You cannot stop storms or silence critics, but you can build yourself so high that none of it reaches your throne. Remember the mantra, be untouchable and you cannot be ruled. Power converges when every side of you sharpens into one. The warrior who strikes without hesitation, the chess master who thinks 10 moves ahead, the wolf who hunts in silence, and the sovereign who rules his own mind. These are not separate identities. They are fragments forged together into a single self. To embody Machiavelli's lesson is to tolerate no weakness, to waste no move, to let no distraction break your command. The unified self is not born, it is constructed. You cut away softness, you train focus, you starve weakness, and you wear the mask of command until it fuses with your skin. The divided self is prey, the unified self is king. When you understand this, the world itself becomes a battlefield of strategy. Every interaction carries weight. A conversation is not idle, it is positioning. A disagreement is not personal, it is a chance to measure strength and project authority. History shows that rulers who framed each exchange as part of a greater campaign secured power where others stumbled. To live strategically means you no longer drift into decisions. You weigh cost, benefit, and timing. You anticipate how one move shapes the next. Just as in war, battles are not won in isolation but through campaigns, and just as in chess, victories are achieved through layered positioning, so too must your daily choices serve the campaign of sovereignty. The one who sees life this way no longer reacts, he dictates. The throne of victory is not given to those who rely on fortune. It belongs to the one who prepares until luck is irrelevant. In modern life, this means refusing to be tossed around by trends, gossip, or shifting tides. You rise above them by building a fortress of self-command and using every environment as terrain for mastery. At work, when others panic under deadlines, you remain composed, issuing clear direction that calms chaos. In relationships, when conflict tempts you into emotional reaction, you hold your ground, letting clarity outlast noise. In politics, business, or influence, when others play for applause, you play for positioning. Sovereignty is not chance. It is discipline converging into inevitability. Consider this. In a meeting, two colleagues argue over recognition. Voices rise, and the room splits in sides. The impulse would be to join the fray, defend yourself, or chase approval. Instead, you remain composed. You let them expend energy, then deliver a precise statement that reframes the issue around results and direction. The room turns. You did not fight for scraps of credit. You secured command of the agenda. This is the unified self in practice. Warrior. Restraint, chessboard patience, predator composure, and sovereign clarity fused into one decisive strike. Weak. I hope things work out. Strong. I make things work by command. Weak. I react when pressed. Strong. I prepare so nothing presses me. Weak. I play for today. Strong. I position for the throne. These distinctions are not wordplay. They are the difference between pawns and kings. All the parts you have built, discipline of mornings, silence as camouflage, ruthlessness in elimination, resilience in ritual, now converge. The warrior teaches you to act without hesitation. The chess master teaches you to think beyond the moment. The wolf teaches you to embrace hunger and patience. The sovereign teaches you to command perception and rule the mind. Together, they two create a self that cannot be bribed, broken, or bent. This is the Machiavellian ideal, not cold cruelty, but supreme command over self and world. The throne of victory does not sit empty. It waits for the one who has forged every fragment into unity. You have been tempered in silence, sharpened by sacrifice, hardened by ritual, and crowned by command. The final form is not a dream. It is the natural result of discipline enforced without mercy. Remember the mantra. Unify the warrior, the wolf, the master, and the king. Become untouchable. Weakness is never ignored by the world. It is punished. History and daily life confirm this truth. The one who hesitates, who cannot command himself, is easily manipulated. Colleagues who lack direction are sidelined. Leaders without discipline lose influence quickly. Even in ordinary decisions, failure to act with clarity invites others to decide for you. When you cannot rule your impulses, you forfeit your throne, and what follows is insignificance. You become subject to stronger wills, a pawn moved by hands that see you as expendable. The cost of failure is not just missed opportunities, it is a lifetime of being ruled when you were meant to rule yourself, but mastery brings the opposite. When you cultivate discipline, resilience, and strategy, you gain a kind of freedom rare in the modern world. The one who needs nothing cannot be bribed. The one who controls himself cannot be manipulated. This is why respect flows naturally to those who demonstrate sovereignty. In business, the calm strategist who resists panic becomes the anchor others look to. In relationships, the one who sets boundaries with clarity earns trust and fearlessness. Freedom is not escape from responsibility. It is command of self in every arena. The reward is not applause but quiet authority, fearless respect from others, and a deeper respect for yourself. To seal this transformation, remember that the throne of your mind does not remain empty. Each day, it is either seized by impulse or ruled by command. You decide whether weakness or sovereignty wears the crown. The battlefield is ordinary life, yet the stakes are absolute. Control or slavery, mastery or insignificance. Weak, I will try when I feel ready. Strong, I act and readiness follows. Weak, I need approval before I move. Strong, I move and approval becomes irrelevant. Weak, I hope for victory. Strong, I build victory. Through command, these shifts in language are shifts in destiny. You are not meant to live as a pawn or prey. You are meant to think with strategy, to act with decisiveness, and to win through sovereignty. The Machiavellian path is not cruelty but clarity, not manipulation but mastery. The cost of failure is chains. The reward of mastery is a throne no one can take. Carry this final command as law. Think with strategy, act with ruthlessness, win with sovereignty.